Hello and welcome to an evening edition of Technical Analysis amongst the crypto markets. Today's date is the 13th of December, 2018. All bets, trades of the like within one's own risk and their own reward. And starting off with very short-term Bitcoin analysis, 5-minute time frame. A decent-sized decline occurring roughly around 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time or 1400 hours thereafter, from about 33 and 3/4, 33 and 2/3, falling down to 32 and 1/3, or a loss of about a little over 100 basis points, correcting throughout the afternoon and the early part of this evening session through time, but has just recently broken down towards this previous low. I see stuff like this happening. We've came down towards this low right now and here, so it's probably gonna have the next leg lower, especially with when we look at the other time frames. But before we get there, either to me it should immediately go down soon, maybe it's able to have a short-term move and come back to this area and amongst this 18 average as well. When we look at this on a 15-minute time frame, we can see after the decline, leaving its 18 average here as well. Single hour time frame, still well overextended from that particular decline and not supporting this previous area of key support, rather resisting it on its last move higher. 4-hour term, we can see the correctionary move. It left the 18 in here, rallied up, decent size break below such, and the previous level here is definitely going to be something I would look for to see. Are we going to see any resistance amongst this area if it's not going to be going straight down? Because when we look at this on the daily term time frame, I've seen this story happen many times before. As you come up to the 18 in here and go down a little bit, but with this little move here, small green candle, decent size red, as it's now working its way towards the lower end. So it looks as if it's going to break a little bit lower for another leg lower. The target I have is at about 3,000, which translates into 33,333 on the TUSD. And I like these charts to see the reverse of something. And really, these, I should be able to see it fast, the reverse of any chart, because it's easy to do. The close, the open, current price is 1 divided by its normal market. So 1 divided by 3,300-ish, and that's where we get this number. For the high, that is its other crosses low, 1 divided by that number. Same thing for the low, and then you'd be able to see, again, different alternates. When we look at the daily term here, we can see the support that it had at the 18 highs after it resisted that level in an upward trend. And now with this momentum getting above the short-term resistance, definitely not a surprise to see continued momentum going forward over the next day or two. And today's day is going to be that of Friday, so it's the end of the week. A lot of the big money might be those who work during the Monday to Friday schedule, so I'll be very interested to see if today is the day where we have maybe a little washout, some capitulation within this market. And looking at this again on a 4-hour time frame, we can see, like, as the Bitcoin was falling from all of the 18 lows, this is going to be breaking out on the 18 highs, as we can see in here. 1-hour term time frame, 2 green candles up, and really not that much of correction, not even close to correcting within the 18 average, as it had a time correction over 3 hours and ready to get going. Now it looks from this as well. Within the 15-minute time frame, it did correct within this this in here. So a lot of times when I'm determining this move, do I use a single hour or 15? I'm going to use the 15 because of how well everything has transpired within this situation. On a break, I'd be looking for this area of resistance, which has been like 30,008 up to 31,000 even. to be a level of possible support. Maybe this goes to like 317 handle, pulls back to 308, and then maybe up to that 33 number from that point forward. But 5-minute time frame to me, after this long sideways correction, looks as if this is ready to get going. 18 average, newly rising. Of course, that's what I'd be looking for in any market when a pattern like this occurs, for support to be indicate or evicted to be support within the 18. I'm trying to find the precise word that I'm trying to think of, and I'm obviously, if I knew what it was, I would say it. NLC2, let's quickly look at, and this is just breaking out again, so maybe I'll just stick around with this for a while, because as we can see on the 1-minute time frame, this thing is active. That means Bitcoin is going to be falling here as well, down to 3204, 3200 even. So only 200 basis points to go towards the likely target. So this is like a deal or no deal situation. I could just sell what I got on the test, cover my short, quote unquote, and do it for a loss of about what now is a couple hundred points. That's still 6-7%. That's not much. Oftentimes it's stuff that I usually do as far as, oh, it's close enough, I'm just going to make the trade. But I do think that the Fibonacci works so well. I think I should be putting buy orders in like around the equivalency of 2,800 and 2,850, because I probably think that's where it would be heading towards this move. But I want to make the conservative buy, and that's why I think a hair over 3,000 Bitcoin, which translates to a hair under 33,333 on the test, is the play. And on the daily term for NLC2 No Limit Coin, the session on Thursday had a gain of almost 41%, going from about the 140s into the 210s, and doing this in one day. So it fell from that period on November the 13th, bottoming on November the 24th in this area of 140. So what it lost in about 11 days, it got back in one, after it spent a couple of weeks going sideways through time. But these markets do this type of stuff all the time, and this is just one random code that happens to be doing well today. It's something I wouldn't be buying now. I'd rather be buying as the price is lower. But overall, any of these coins with these types of moves, I mean, there could be lots of gains coming forward. But this move in here, you go from 243 up to like 500. That was a 2x move. And this move in here, you go from 338 up to like 540. This little pierce high here is 830, coming from like 327. So it's like a 2x move on that. And this is all the data that I have. But whenever markets are ready to go for big gains, I like that, because this gives me opportunity to sell, which is what I've been doing with this coin. I'm playing this against Litecoin, but I'm still getting my sells in, whether it's Bitcoin or Litecoin. But what I use is the 1 unit strategy I've talked about. So if every amount of alt that I have, it might be worth X amount of Bitcoin. Maybe it's worth 0.01, maybe it's worth 0.02, 05, or whatever it's worth. So the market goes up, say 20%, then it's going to look like that. So I'm going to eliminate and sell everything from this point on to keep it at 0.01. And then if it goes down to, like, say this, that means it would have lost 10%, and you'd buy it back up to bring it to this. So with the Litecoin one, I just make sure that after I put my sell and buy orders in, that after that execution, that whatever the amount is required for me to have for the coin to be worth that many Litecoin, I'd sell the remainder. So if it's worth 2 Litecoin and the move has been nice and it's like 2.44 Litecoin, so what I would do is I put a sell order somewhere, push the max, maybe it says it's going to be, I could sell everything for that number. Well, I would sell 0.44 worth, and then that would bring it down to 2. So that's generally what I do with a lot of the markets. And for this one, yes, trading it against that of Litecoin. And what's interesting about that is if Litecoin ever has some significant moves that is new to itself, it's nice to have spots where, say, if Litecoin could have a move like this in either direction, that you could end up getting. So if Litecoin does this, what would happen is you'd be buying altcoins on the way up, and then you'd be selling them for the most part on the way down, because if they just trade sideways against Bitcoin, then obviously they would go down if its base currency does this, and they'd go up when the base currency does something like that. Because oftentimes within these coins, even though they can move up and down together in harmony, when one is ready to do its thing, it can do it solo, or oftentimes with another coin or two. And thus, you can be able to have interesting plays. So if you're playing Ethereum or Litecoin or Monero or some other coin that's not Bitcoin as your base currency, you can get a lot of interesting moves. Binance Coin being another one, where you can have good buys and sells amongst it. Now the disadvantage, though, is when markets do move up and down in harmony, maybe you'll see all the coins going up, generally speaking, against Bitcoin. And then what happens is you'd be selling against such. But if Litecoin, if the average coin is up like 20% and Litecoin's only up like 13% against Bitcoin, that means the markets won't be going up as much against such, but there's always the yin and the yang, and the good and the bad on every situation. All right, thank you for tuning in, and have yourself a great day. Bye-bye. And actually, I want to take a look at Bitcoin a bit because it's having its interesting move, 3273. So that would mean that it rallied, yeah, from this low. So there's that volatility. And when I see something like this, it's had a nice little down move. There's always going to be these sharp moves, but oftentimes they will end up failing. So if they're rallying, maybe they can have enough move to come up to the 3,300 and change, or yeah, 3,300 and change, test this little area out here. But I'm not too optimistic if it does continue further that it's going to be able to get out and above. The one reason why I'm hesitant to sell right now, which I normally probably would have, is because if my order gets missed in the dust, meaning it's a pierce above, which it would be right now at 3,200, and I miss out on the transaction, that I'm completely fine and really happy as a trader, because Bitcoin would be going up and most likely all the alts would be as well. So it's played within a hedge bet as far as betting against Bitcoin, and it was really only a small amount, because back in here when I was doing it, I was thinking, man, I gotta be hedging this thing better, and I put some Bitcoin in, Litecoin in, sold it towards such, and I'm glad I did it like 4 or 5. I took like 4, 5, 6 trades. I'd sell some, and an hour or 2 hours later, the next day I'd sell a bunch. But I wish I would have done more, because overall the hedge size that I put in, based on my overall portfolio, I probably should have sold 2 to 3 times more than I did. But you can't go back in the past and change things, and you can only work on what's playing out right now. Thank you for tuning in, and have yourself a great day. Bye-bye.